Alright, so today guys, I'm going to introduce you to my Frost Death Knight PvP build slash setup. So, starting with the gear, obviously you want to get the Honor gear for now, Conquest gear once it's out, Rune of Razor Ice. You really want to focus on Mastery first, because you'll be doing a lot of Frost damage with this build. And then Haste. Haste is very important. You want to be able to quickly get your skills out. And Critical Strike, while you might think it's important for your killing machine, you have this talent where while Pillar of Frost is active, your Frost Strike Howling Blast always grants killing machine. So that makes it so crit is not that important. I only have 99 crit because I'm matching Cloak with my sets. But yeah, you really prioritize Mastery and then Haste. And yeah, so for the talents, and also one thing I want to say is that Frost, if you're trying to decide between Frost and Holy, Frost is much more of a bursty specialization, focusing on your Pillar of Frost and doing huge crits with your Obliterate while it's up. And when it's down, that'll be a little bit of downtime in your damage, but it's really about that huge burst you get with Pillar of Frost up. So for talents, for the Death Knight tree, this is what I go with. You have like Blinding Sleet is a key skill. Gloom Ward, you have absorbs from anti-magic barrier. Importantly, you really want this Empower Rune weapon, so you want to go on this tree. A-Bomb's key, you want to go down here. Soul Reaper is, don't even really bother with it. I like to go Death Pact, so you can get an instant heal, 50% of max health. It can be huge when you just need a quick heal, especially with the Death Strike nerfs. Asphyxiate for stuns, Icebound Fortitude defensive. These are really good defensive talents. This is a loadout primarily focused on Arena, by the way. Battleground, you might want to go a little bit more AoE, but this is primarily for Arena, and it works pretty well in Battlegrounds as well. For the Frost Tree, you really want to get Obliteration. This is what it revolves around, getting that Pillar of Frost, and then big damage around that. This helps with that, strong killing machines. I like to go two-hand for big Obliteration damages with Might of the Frozen Waste. Can go dual wield, but it's not what this build's focusing on. Well, one thing that's key is, first, yeah, you want to go here to get Chill Streak. Chill Streak's really key for cleaving. You have people stacked up together. And you want the Empower Rune weapon to get an extra charge. So how that works is Pillar of Frost, 1 minute cooldown. This is 2 minute cooldown, but you get double charges. Allows you to get Power Rune weapon with your first Pillar of Frost, another one when it comes back up, and then another charge for the third time. So you basically end up, that's 3 Pillar of Frost, 3 Empower Rune weapons to do a lot of damage in Arena and get a kill. And what's next? I like to go Frostworm's Fury. It says quite a bit of damage, and with the absolute 0, you got to reduce cooldowns down to 1.5 minutes. That's you can get multiple of these out in Arena, and then being able to freeze all enemies hit for 3 seconds. If you're doing 3-on-3, like I'm focused on solo shuffle or 3-on-3. Same build for 2-on-2 really. If you can get 2 or 3 people stacked up, Frostworm's Fury, multiple people frozen for 3 seconds while you're doing damage, obliterating them. It's huge. It's huge. And I definitely if I could, I definitely want more enduring strength. This is really effective for getting a huge strength boost after your Pillar of Frost is expired, but getting at least one, that's good. These talents are just key for basically just making your Obliterate stronger, doing more damage. And PvP talents, Bitter Chill, I really like this. Just you'll have your Chains of Ice up pretty much all the time. You have this talent just makes it so it affects multiple people. Having this reducing haste by 8%, that's a really subtly key thing where you're constantly using Chains of Ice, based permanent reduction by 8% haste. That's a good thing to have going for the whole battle. Strangulate, being able to silence people on a 1 minute cooldown for 4 seconds, I can limit a lot of what other people are able to do. Spell Warden is always key when there's going to be casters everywhere. If I guess if you're not against the caster, which is going to be rare, pretty much always against people doing spell damage, you go with the Dead of Winter to get some stuns off by your Remorseless Winter. And the cooldown is increased with being able to get a stun, makes the ability much more powerful. You can also go with Death Chill, being able to root people in place, but I think it's not quite as important because you'll be able to slow down people constantly with the Change of Ice. So this would be the build setup, and then coming down to the rotation. So really, it's all about getting that pillar, getting a setup where you can get your Pillar Frost up, getting your power rune weapons. If there's people stacked up, Frostworm Series perfect. You can get your Asphyxiate for a stun as well. People are stacked up, Chill Streak. Abominum is a really key cooldown. So say coming in to do damage, it's pop the cooldowns, and then get Howling Blast on them, obliterate, and see how you have that free crits, Frost Strike, boom, boom, doing tons of damage. I'm on a tank dummy, so I'm getting messed up right now. I'm gonna start over here, and then the great thing about Pillar of Frost is you have a talent where it's right here, Ice Cap. So it's a 1 minute cooldown, but any you Frost Strike and Obliterate critical strike reduces the cooldown by 2 seconds. So you saw how it very quickly got reduced, very quickly. So and that is key for getting more Pillar Frost. Your build really revolves around that. Ideally, if you can get something you'll want to do to make use of your AoE damage, you attack someone, you grip someone else over, you can Death and Decay, your Obliterate will hit another person, kill 2 people, and then you can do Chill Streak and have it bounce between them. So that's really key. If you really need survivability, you can Death Strike, of course, although try to avoid it. It says 11% here in PvP, but in PvP, it heals about 6.8%. It'll be healing 7%. It's really low. So I like to get Death Pact. So if I'm doing the combo again, Pillar Frost, Power Rune Weapon, getting the crits out. If you're stacked up, get the Frostworm Fury in to stun them. Do that. Keep bursting them. Getting the crits in. Getting an Asphyxiate in. Use Remorseless Winter as well to do some extra damage in AoE and slow them a little bit. Doesn't do a large amount of damage. It's kind of an extra thing you want to do. This build's really good for cleaving. And yeah, so if you're doing that combo, you're bursting, Frost Strike, Obliterate, and you're low, like you Death Pact, you can keep bursting. You have if you're in trouble, you have the Blinding Sleep to disorient people and an AoE in front of you. It's really good. And the mobility is pretty good too. So I'm taking Wraithwalk, taking March of Darkness. So you need to close on someone if you're rooted Wraithwalk. If you're rooted, it's really good just getting out of a root, getting a big move speed bonus, can close in. There'll be Chains of Icing people as well. You can also have Death's Advanced, boosting your move speed to close. Yeah, the Strangulate too. Like if you're trying to focus someone down, you don't want them to heal themselves. You don't want them to pop anything to escape. Strangulate, boom, that's 4 seconds. That's really key. So I'm personally doing Blood Elf. I mean, this is a generational thing. This is not really. Honestly, Blood Elf is not the best class, but I like Blood Elves. Arcane Torrent's good for if they have a buff on them. If they have the Pally Bubble being sent on them, I think it's the Blessing of Protection, I believe it was. Not 100% sure. You can take that off, or sometimes you can take off like shields, or just kind of a side thing. But anyways, that's the general idea. Defensively, you have Lichborn, you're getting feared, just Charm Sleep. You can pop this to get rid of it, and give you some extra leech as well. You can even Death Coil yourself, since that threat's so nerfed, and you can't, and it's also good. You're kind of just by yourself, you desperately need healing, you can press Lichborn, heal yourself with Death Coil, it gives a little bit of healing. Anti-Magic Shell is really key. 40 seconds, 130,000 magic damage. This is my PvE gear, so it's not even being scaled up PvP wise, but that's a significant 7 seconds, 130 magic damage. That is absolutely huge. If you're about to take some magic damage, you want to make sure you're using Anti-Magic Shell. Icebound Fortitude is good, 2 minute cooldown. Probably get this off multiple times. It's really good for you're being stun locked, pop Icebound Fortitude, and then you're reducing damage 30% by 8 seconds. That's really good. Anti-Magic Zone. it can be improved with assimilation, but it's not really necessary. I'd say it's kind of hard to get great usage out of this because people will move out of the zone. But if you're like if you're fighting someone in the zone, you're taking magic damage. Pop the bubble. That's 20% reduction. It can help out your party as well. That's great. Yeah, that's the general guide. I'll do like the burst rotation again real quick. You know, change of ice, close in, pop your things. Frost is it's a pretty simple spec. It really is. It really just falls around, you know, getting that pillar of frost set up and then popping your obliterates. You can see the damage I'm doing. Oh, this is level 45 dummy. You'll be doing large crit numbers of that. It wore off, but guess what? With your talent, once it wears off, it's only on like a 30-second cooldown left. And then when it's off, you kind of want to play safer. Yes, when you can try to heal up a little bit with your death strikes. You know, go back, cower behind a pillar, whatever, try to get heals, do whatever. But really, Frost Death Knight, it's all about the Pillar of Frost. It's an aggressive, burst-focused specialization. It's pretty effective. I'd say kind of depend if Solo Shuffle isn't out yet, so can't really completely assess the meta yet. But if it's a burst if it's short games, burst heavy, Frost is definitely better than Unholy. Me personally, I prefer Frost. It's simpler, it's aggressive. You do big damage with your crits. I just like it thematically more. You know, Arthas is a Frost Death Knight, and yeah, that's generally the gist of it.